The road of an entrepreneur is not an easy one. It is a path that some say a higher calling has asked them to do. We talked to one industry expert as an entrepreneur on ways to serve that higher power and help others on this episode of The Crude Truth.
In 1901, at Spindletop Hill near Beaumont, the future of Texas changed dramatically as, like a fountain of fortune, thousands of barrels of oil burst from the earth towards the sky. Soon, Detroit would be cranking out Model Ts by the millions, and America was on the move, thanks to the black gold being produced in Texas. Now, more than a century later, the vehicles are different, but nothing else has truly changed. Sure, there may be many other alternative energy sources like wind and solar and electric. But let's be honest, America depends on oil and entrepreneurs. And if the USA is truly going to be independent, it has to know the crude truth.
This episode is brought to you by LFS Chemistry. We are committed to being good stewards of the environment. We are providing the tools so you can be too. NAPE Expo, where deals happen. Air Compressor Solutions. When everything is on the line, Air Compressor Solutions is the dependable choice to keep commercial business powered up. Sandstone Group. Exec Crew. Elevate your network, elevate your knowledge. Texas Star Alliance. Pecos Country Operating. Fueling our future.
Well, thank you as always for tuning in to another episode of The Crude Truth. We are just steamrolling 2025 and just making it awesome. I hope you guys are as well. Today, I bring on somebody that I've actually been trying to get on the show now for over a year. As you can tell in my teaser, an entrepreneur, somebody that has had several business exits, successful business exits, an individual that definitely when he starts a new venture, it's really serving God and how he can help others in that role. Our guest today is a guy that is a mentor and a coach when it comes to entrepreneurs, because wouldn't it be helpful to actually have somebody that's already been there, done that? Because all entrepreneurs are first-time entrepreneurs at one point. My guest today is Clayton Carmack. Clayton, how are you?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for inviting me, man.
No, thank you so much for coming on. What a great pre-production discussion we've already been having, and I hope we can continue that. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been whole change in my life, even in the last year or so, going from owning a very large, helical pile installation company to now I'm just looking to help business owners around the country in multiple different ways. So never thought in a million years that God will put me in this path, but this is the path I'm on, and I'm here to serve them and do these things to help business owners.
Well, when you say that, you're really diminishing what you're doing. You are really helping business owners thrive in what they do and giving them a better path, or actually maybe not a better path, but making the road smoother on that path.
Yeah, I kind of look at it as like try to avoid or minimize the pitfalls.
Yes. Because
again, I think entrepreneurs have to make those mistakes. They have to go through things, but how painful can that mistake be, right? And having that guidance in so many multitude of ways, whether it's hiring or firing, whether it's, how to get like funds for, or borrowing money to health insurance. Yeah. All those things in between are huge deals that can make or break your business, or make or break, hiring that guy or that gal that can make your business better. So there's retention tools there's ways to maximize your profit. There's all these different things I look at where a lot of times you're in the business of doing the business, you're a technician, but are you a businessman in your business? And I think sometimes that gets kind of lost in the shuffle.
Speaking of getting lost in the shuffle, for those out there that don't know you, Clayton, tell the people out there who you are and, how we got to right here in a way, not specifically how we got here to the second, but, let's talk about your background and how we're here.
Yeah, I would say kind of started off, I was a kid that grew up overseas. My father was in the oil and gas industry. I'm actually a fourth generation oil and gas. Mm-hmm. It's in my blood. And I grew up overseas, graduated high school overseas, came back to the States, and, I kind of struggled. It took me 8 years to graduate, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. Got to a point to where I joined the Army in the middle of my college career, was able to finish that. And as soon as I kind of finished my, and I joined the Army, I was in the reserves, and I did do a deployment overseas. But when I came back and I graduated, I also finished my reserve time, and I jumped right in the oil and gas industry. And it was incredible for me. And my first job in the oil and gas industry, real job, was working for ConocoPhillips as a company man. And they sent me to school, 26 years old, didn't know anything. They sent me to school, and I was able to pass their course. It was like a 7-month-long course. And in 2006, 2007 timeframe, I jumped in the oil and gas field as a company man. And I'm like thinking, okay, I'm 26. I'll be 56 when I retire. I'll be here for 30 years. And then a year and a half later, 2009 hit, and I got laid off. And I told myself I will never work for a large company again, and I haven't since.
Wow.
Well, up until just recently, but for 15 years, I said I'm going to do it by myself. And so, I did go back to the oil and gas industry, but as a consultant. And then about 10 years ago, I started a service company, and I did that for 10 years, and it was very successful. Basically started it with nothing. I had 35 grand in my pocket, and as a drilling consultant, made some money, threw it in the business, and 4 years later, we're making over 10 million a year.
Wow.
Was able to expand. And I started in North Dakota, expanded to West Texas, came to Houston, and just last year I ended up selling my half of the company to my brother-in-law, and now he's running the company. I wanted to go out and do something different. And my passion has kind of changed from, all the things I learned and failed, from 2020 and that debacle and how terrible it was for small business owners. At the time, we were doing just 10 million in 19, and it dropped down to 3 million. I had 30 employees, went down to 4 employees. And I was able to make it through, but there was so many heartache and pitfalls that I did previously that I wish I'd have known. But I learned the hard way. And so I got to the point where I sold, and I said, now I want to do something that serve other people. I want to serve the business owners. There's so many mistakes I've made, and with the information I have now, I want to help those, whether you're 1 year in, you're 5 years in, you're doing your first million, you're doing your first 5 million. There's these goals and steps you have to take, but it gets tougher along the way. And I feel like there's so many entrepreneurs that are probably between that $1 and $10 million range. That how do you get over the next edge? How do you do the next thing? So that's truly my passion now, is to help those that way.
And, that's one thing people don't know. It's like, that 1 million to 2 million is hard. That 2 million to 7 is hard. And then from 7 to 10 is hard. And then I think 13 is, I don't know, there are these, I don't want to call them hurdles, but there are these steps and these layers that you just have to always be working on and figuring out how to get there, because what worked for the first one's probably not going to work for the next one. Is that true?
100% correct. I would say we ran the same business model from 1 to 3 million, and then 3 to 6 was different, and then 7 to 10 was different. We did about 12.5 million in 2023, and it was another model where I was getting to the next level where I'm like, I don't know if I can do this level. I have to change again. And I think each revenue level is almost like changing your company, even from within. The guys that got you there are not going to be the guys who get you to the next step, right? So can you hire the next guy? Do you stay with the same guys? Will they bring you down? The answer is yes, yes, and yes. Like you have to change with everything. And I looked at even the model pre-COVID and post-COVID. Holy cow, it totally changed, right? You had to be very slim, and we were more like a district-centric model. We had multiple offices around the country. Post-COVID, we went to one model and went nomadic. Let's get rid of some places, get rid of some managers. Let's get smaller, rent equipment, stuff like that, and go that model. And that's the only way that I had to change and survive that way.
I liked what you said a minute ago about the people that got you here may not be the people that get you to the next level, and it's not a slight on them by any means. I every now and then I like to watch this it's a goofy show called Wrexham about a soccer team in Europe that Rob Lecomeni and Ryan Reynolds on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I know.
And so I think for 3 years in a row, they've actually gone up every level, or like they've gone up a level in soccer every time. I think they're like one away from the Premier League now, maybe 2. I don't know for sure. But there was one episode where it was like, there will be nobody on this team at one point that was at the beginning. It's like, because, hey, they got us here, but then we got to find the people that are going to get us here. And it's no slight on anybody, but it's like, hey, you want to grow, you want to thrive. And that's something that you have to do. And I think a lot of companies don't see that, or they don't want to do it because, old Stan over there has just been here and he's so loyal. And it's like, man, you got to either find him a good spot to hang out, or, be ready for the weight to just bring you down. And it doesn't mean it's in a way of negativity or anything, but maybe financially, right?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So for me, it was, can you make those switch moves, or you're going to be stuck in the past? And, you may have a revenue plan and goal to do this, but sometimes those guys or those processes will slow you down. You have to make changes. So I think the company can make the most changes as quickly as possible. If they want to have that growth level, is fine. If you want to stay at the same revenue level and the same clients and do this, that's fine too. There's pros and cons on both sides. But for me, I was always a hungry entrepreneur that wanted to try new and bigger things and just expand my potential,
As you talk about expanding and your potential and always want to try new things, you are now really a mentor and a coach to other entrepreneurs. And we kind of talked about it on my teaser a little bit, is that there's a lot of things that entrepreneurs can do that they don't know how to do, or they don't know that's available to them. Is that correct?
It is. I looked at myself and go, okay, I'm new at learning this business and growing this level. Like, first time I did 5 million, first time I did 5 million, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not thinking about, okay, well, how do I find cheaper health insurance?
Yeah.
How do I find a way to not guarantee $2 million worth of equipment when I can maybe grow my corporate credit and have the corporate credit be the one that's buying the equipment? Yes, it takes time. Yes, it takes money. But when you look at the example, I'll give the perfect example is 2020.
Yeah.
We were getting to the point where we're doing $10 million. I had $2 million plus in yellow iron. And then all the jobs went, well, I owe this money. I personally guarantee it. They're coming after me.
Yep.
I couldn't make a bill. I could pay a bill for 3-6 months.
Yep.
And it was like, how the heck am I going to get out of this? Well, I personally guaranteed it. Had I spent the time and built my corporate credit and took my name off the business and do these things and say no to personal guarantees. Of course, every banker wants you to personal guarantee things, right?
Yeah.
They want to pierce that veil, the limit liability, and say, I want you. If you fail, that's okay. I got your house.
Yeah.
Well, man, there are other ways, and other business owners do it all the time. But I feel like the sub $20 million entrepreneur is like, I'm just going to do it. I keep doing it the same way.
Right.
I don't need to borrow money. I don't need all these things.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, but don't personally guarantee your life away.
Yeah.
Don't do it, because things can happen. But also, you give yourself options when you don't personally guarantee. When you're already leveraged to everything you have, how can you grow to the next level? How can you get to the next option, the next opportunity? Because you're done. So for me, I did not realize that I was growing my business. And so I tell people, like, build your corporate credit, do these things. That's just one of the examples I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And I really tell that story over and over and over again, so they can see it. But a lot of times you're in the thick of things. You're a technician. They don't think about that side of it.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to use me. I'm the biggest testimony I know.
Yeah.
So use myself as the example and go, this is what I went through. This is how I felt. Did I get depressed? Did I think I'm going to have to sell my house? Did I think I was going to go bankrupt? Yes.
Yeah.
Was I close? Yes.
Yeah.
Did I work my butt off and make it through it? Barely. But sometimes people don't. And I hear the horror stories too, just as much. And had they made just one little different turn and the thing that maybe could have saved their house, SBA loans that they personally guarantee their home.
Oh my God.
These people lose their home first before they liquidate their business. You hear these stories of over and over again.
Wow.
Because the banks, that they want it.
How can people reach out to you for those type of questions about building corporate credit? Yeah, how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, so I teamed up with a guy named Tyler Clifton, and he is the CEO of Harvest Business Solutions. So I'm also a coach and mentor of these things, and so that's what I do is I show them different ways how to do things. Build their credit. We got a slew of lenders, 1,100 lenders on our team that see you build your corporate credit. So we're trying to get to the point where we move your social security number from the business. Make it really an LLC again. Limited liability. But that's how you do it. So typically when you're at a point, I think, where you're doing over 2 million, right? That's when your probably expenses are probably 50 to 100 grand a month.
Right.
maybe a little more. And it's like, if a bank were to lend you $250,000, which they will, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's the price of your house, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Nothing over $250,000 the bank won't lend you. So when you start getting to a point where you spend more than you do in maybe a month or a quarter, the bank can't help you anymore. And so you have this huge gap between where the bank can stop helping you around $2 to $3 million. So you get to about $20 million when any equity firm will even look at you and touch you.
Oh, wow.
Unless you have some angel investor, which came out of the blue that wants to invest money in and you only have $5 million, like, good luck.
Yeah.
You're still going to be personally guaranteed things. I got to the point where even I did $12 million, I was still personally guaranteed things. Yeah. Well, I mean, my expenses, overhead was $250,000 a month.
Yeah.
You need help if you want to grow, right? You only can grow as fast as your personal credit will allow you to.
Yeah.
Well, that's not real business. So yeah, I want to teach that stuff, and it's simple.
Okay. Huh.
It really is. You know, just like when you build your corporate, your personal credit, right?
Right.
You remember your first credit card?
Oh yeah.
You're 18 years old. You're in college. You wanted the free Frisbee or T-shirt, right? So you applied for the Discover card for $500, and you went out and you bought rollerblades. Okay, this is my story. Okay. This is 1998, and I had to get me a new pair of rollerblades and a cue stick because I'm building credit. It's just decisions you make when you're dumb kid. Yeah. But the same thing in corporate credit, you can't just get it overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a year to build it.
Okay.
Build it up. Show that you're a reliable business, and then lenders will actually lend you money without personally guarantee it.
Okay. Okay.
And so it takes time, and there's no like switch like this to get corporate credit. It takes time, just like your personal credit. So there are some differences, there's some similarities, but I coach and teach that, and I sell that product to a lot of my entrepreneurs at around that $2 to $15 million.
Right.
And that's where a lot of people kind of get stuck.
When you're talking about just small business entrepreneurs, another thing that you've gotten into that I think is something that is groundbreaking and a game changer is health insurance. Obamacare is being rolled back again, supposedly. However, that's not what this episode is about. What this episode is about is actually the necessary evil that is health insurance, and how with small businesses, we don't normally have opportunities to have good insurance rates. However, because of where you're at, you're able to help out the small businesses, and they are able to have good interest rates, good premiums, and things like that. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So, in my quest, after I sold my last business, was I really wanted to serve God. And I asked God, what are those God-given skills that he gave me? And it was, I was successful and I failed, and I was successful and I failed multiple times in my 10 years of owning a business. And I came across this insurance thing, and I'm like, man, I hate health insurance. And I will still tell you to this day I hate health insurance. It's such a scam. There's so much corruption. All of it. It's a joke, and it feels like, well, I have to pay for it. I have to do it, so I said, no way, I'm going to get into this. Okay. But another friend of mine, his name's Pete Vanderveen, and he's the director of growth, and I got into this health insurance. I started learning about it, I'm like, this is a great model. This makes sense. Like, they're actually doing something that's like not about like growing your profit margin like crazy. These insurance companies, these pharmaceutical companies they're just putting the screws to us. I look at the example of when I was a drilling consultant in 2009, I bought my health insurance, and I had 4 kids at the time. My insurance was just under $500 a month.
You still have 4 kids?
I still do.
Okay. You still have 4 kids?
That's okay. I misspoke there. But I had 4 kids, but they were much younger. They were much younger, had the 4 kids, I still do. But that insurance policy was just under $500 a month. Yeah. I fast forwarded to just, 9 months ago, 10 months ago, I was paying $28.50 a month. You're telling me the health insurance got up 550% in 15 years?
Golly.
Because that's what it's done. And it's more than my home and my car payment.
I see a lot more insurance people at the club these days. No.
Man, you ain't kidding. And so I'm like, this is such a farce. And so I started looking into it, and I'm like, how is this different? And when I found out how different it was, not only did I want to share it to all my colleagues and friends, but I called the company up myself and talked to the president and said, you're going to give me a franchise and I'm going to sell this. And they're like, what? I'm like, yes. Yeah. Because their model is they help like smaller franchises, or I say small, they're huge franchises, but in a sense of like revenue, like a Chick-fil-A, right? They may do $2 or $3 million a year, but you have employees that they're 18, 19-year-old kids, right? But not everyone needs health insurance, but a line manager might, right? They might be 21 years old, but you want to keep that person on because he's a great person. So it's a retention tool.
Right.
So the owner of that Chick-fil-A or Jimmy John's, whatever it is, will want to do insurance. Well, I said, wait a minute, we need this for the construction world. So I showed him my network where I have, 6,500 followers on LinkedIn, which isn't a lot by any means, but I have great colleagues and friends, and I know dozens, not hundreds of entrepreneurs where I know this could really help them. So I said, let me take this to the construction world. Let's find a way for them to benefit from it. And so we married the idea together.
Nice.
So they're like, okay, we'll give you this first franchise. And I took it. And I'm like, this is it, guys. And I'm telling you that it's so revolutionary that I think there will probably be other copycatters. But and basically what it is we know the story. Like you gone in, right? Maybe you twisted an ankle, maybe you hurt your shoulder, and you go in and you go in and 3 months later you get a bill. Like, how is this bill $4,000? That's because the insurance and the hospital have been fighting back and forth, and they've been adding more money to it. And of course the doctor hasn't been paid for 3 months either the whole time, right? So he wants to get paid. So he's putting more money in because he hasn't been paid for 3 months.
Jeez.
That's the system. I mean, I had a bill that was 9 months. I mean, matter of fact, right before I left my last company, I had a panic attack. I thought it was a heart attack. It's like it's coming to an end, and I knew my life was changing, and I had a panic attack. I went in, and of course, it was nothing. But they did the EKG and they checked the blood, and it was just a panic attack. Honestly, I got a panic attack, and I whatever. But I got the bill 9 months later, and it was $3,100. The total bill was $16,000. Insurance covered $13,000, and I got to pay $3,100.
Jeez.
9 months later. And so I use that model. I'm like, I don't ever want to do that again. So this insurance company, what they do is they pay the hospital and doctors within 48 to 72 hours.
Wow.
So that game of like, well, come on in, I'm going to give you service, but I won't tell you what it costs. Wink, wink. Well, how much you think it might cost? We don't know yet until you get the bill.
I know, isn't that messed up?
What is this crap? Tell me another industry in the world where you go in and say, what's the price? Don't know. Tell you 9 months.
Yeah.
And they get away with it. So that's the part I hate about it. And they remove that stuff. So those costs are gone. You can get the right amount of value. Little things like zero copay. I hate paying $25. I already pay $2,800 a month. Why am I paying another $25 a month to walk in the door? Like, what is the deal?
What's the deal with that?
So all these things, I looked at them like, I need to teach all these great leaders in the construction world and oil and gas and everyone else I meet this model so they can use it as a great tool for retention. When you look at companies, I look at it this way. These smaller companies are doing less than 20 million. They don't have PTO. They don't have 401ks. They don't do all these other stuff, right? The only other tool for compensation is what? Insurance. So use that as a tool. And I teach them, like, I can help you just like, maybe when a new employee, you only pay $200 a month.
Yeah.
And then you pay all of it, or you pay just the employee. So I've done all the different ways. So I teach them not only to get this insurance, but then how to use it as a tool moving forward. So that's what I look at. I don't look at it just as a salesman, but a coach of how to use it as a retention tool.
Use the things you got to get the things you want.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely. So that's why I got into it. And again, I've got a lot of things going on, and I do have a full-time employer, and I work my butt off now. I instead of putting all my eggs in that one basket, like I was telling you, pre-production, it was just like I put everything in it. And I think it's what business owners do is they sacrifice everything, their family, their mental health, their physical health for a business. But I want to make sure that I take care of my physical health. I want to make sure that I put my couple eggs in different baskets because I don't want to ever be in that position again where I felt hopeless.
Yeah. That's so interesting that you say about putting all your eggs in one basket. We do our best. Sometimes you get tunnel vision, and you don't even know what you're doing in the sense of putting your eggs in one basket. And we had to have a meeting about that ourselves as a family. Like, all right, where are the other investments at? And I was like, oh, we haven't done any in, I think we did some back in January or February. And I was like, that was the last time. I was like, well, it's not very good, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I definitely believe in what I do. However, you have to have a little bit more in something, or you have to have other things. And I think that this health insurance that you're working on with other smaller companies, 15, 20 people, maybe 3 million a year in revenue is huge, because how many businesses across America are actually that size?
I mean, I come across it to where I would say, man, and I'm dealing with like, whether it's a sign company, maybe that's like a franchise, or these new handyman companies that are popping up around the country. They're kind of like, you know, Wall Street's kind of getting into, you know, like how do we do stuff that builds roofs and stuff like that. And so these franchise owners that probably do maybe 600,000 to 1.2 million or a little more, like they barely have enough money to pay insurance for themselves, let alone their employees. And so that's how I look at it, where there's so many people in that level. And insurance is designed for employees over 50. That's the problem. Like, you don't have any leverage. You don't have any control of like the change in the price until you have over 50 employees. But sub that, like, there's no one taking care of that market. But how many, like I said, I'll ask you the question. How many companies do you know that are sub 50 employees? Tons.
And with all the new people that are here in America that came in over the last 4 years, that's even more people that need health insurance.
Right. I mean, I don't care. That's funny.
I'm sorry.
But I don't care if you're a hot truck driver and you're a solopreneur to just doing, you know, maybe $250,000. They're making good money. Or maybe like a welder that just says, I'm going to break off and buy my own truck and do it myself. Like, how many? You see dozens of a month that do that. They still need to get their own separate insurance policy. Or they play the game, I'll just not get health insurance and just throw the dice and hope I don't get hurt in the next 10 years.
Well, you know what? I like to live on the edge a little bit too. It's always fun.
Like that much on the edge?
I see my son out there playing soccer and I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay over here.
But I think it's to the point where what the value of it is and where the price is, there's such a monstrous gap. There's a great opportunity. And I looked at it and I saw the opportunity. Never in a million years would I ever thought about getting in this. Never. But it's such a good opportunity that I think I just combine and help people. And can I make a buck from it? Sure.
Absolutely.
But that's what we're all trying to do, is make a buck on something. But I just feel so excited about this because it's so revolutionary.
Well, let's I want to, you know, you're saying helping others, and I don't know if I didn't know where to put this, because I know you've got so many great things going on, and like all my guests, I always tell them, hey, you know, I want to get, you know, the important stuff out at the beginning, but everything we're talking about today, I think, is important. And this one, maybe I'm saving the best for now, but it's like, you know, you talked about, it's like, hey, I'm here to serve. And if I get something out of it down the road, great. But if not, I am A-okay. You said that in our pre-production meeting. And I think, in my opinion, Clayton, that's what sets everything you're doing apart. It's like, hey, look, let me share with you, because nowadays sharing means it's going to cost you something. But you're sitting here going, hey, let me share with you certain things. Now, again, I know we're all trying to make $1 still, but it's like, man, I have my experience. Come ask me questions. Let's see what we can do. And so I want to kind of touch on that for a minute about, you know, where this came from. That's like, man, I just need to help and serve others. I know so many wonderful people inside and out that are just that same way. And, you know, where did this come from?
You know, I kind of grew up agnostic. I told you earlier that I grew up overseas. And so I think, you know, for the most part, I think my parents were Christian, but I never really believed that. And then growing overseas, and I grew up in Indonesia, and it's a predominantly Muslim country. But there's also, I lived in an international community where there was religions and races and you name it. Not even Americans were the majority of this high school I went to. And so I really looked at it and go, wow, I mean, who's right, who's wrong? And so I grew up with a very agnostic point of view. And then, you know, I joined the military. I told you about that. And I got deployed to Iraq. And, you know, there was a terrible incident there where my squad leader was actually killed in battle. He was shot in the neck and died. And I knew his wife, and I knew his 2 kids. And it breaks my heart even thinking about it. And in that point on, I hated God. And I would tell God I hated him.
Oh, wow.
So this was like when I was 24, and I hated God. Man, it was his fault. It made me feel worse as a person. Like I couldn't even look his wife in the eye anymore. Like I would see her sometimes. I just wanted to cry, but I couldn't do anything, right? It was a helpless feeling.
Wow.
And it was about 4 years later, you know, I'm just getting married to my wife, and I told her I kind of feel empty. And she's like, well, do you want to start going to church? And I said, sure, I'll do anything right now. I mean, I still had my love-hate relationship with God, but I was willing to try anything because I just felt empty. And then I started going to church, and I had an epiphany. And the epiphany was, man, if you hate God so much, he's real.
And that's the crude truth.
And I was like,
whoa.
Boom. He is real. There's no way. You can't hate something that doesn't exist.
Wow.
And so then I went on this path, and I was like, I'm going to find something. And I was trying to search, and I was trying to be a Christian. And when I started my business with my previous company, I went to North Dakota, and this was, probably a couple years later.
Yeah.
And I next door to a Christian, and it's February, and it's snow and ice, and I'm sitting there trying to break the ice off my freaking driveway, and he comes out, let me help you. Like, who's this guy? Like, I don't know this guy, but served me, not even thinking twice, helped me break up all the ice, and he's like, if you ever want to talk, just come in, just come by, say hi. Okay. Next day I went in there. Here's me, like I'm gonna go do that. And we had a talk, and he told me he's Christian, and have I thought about it? I said, yeah, I have, but I don't even know what to do. Yeah. And so we started doing Bible study.
Wow.
For 2 years. And 2 years later, on the 4th of July, me and my wife got baptized right in his driveway in a horse trough, and I've been a Christian ever since.
Oh my gosh.
And that was 8 years ago now.
Okay.
And I'm still kind of learning. So I committed myself to Christ. But it wasn't until about 4 years ago, I'm in this business. I'm an entrepreneur. I've got to do the hard work. I've got to do this. Yeah. It's up to me.
Yeah.
Me. That's all you're hearing, right? And was I praying to God and asking for guidance? No. And so I came up with this group, and the group's called C12. And the C12 is this organization that once a month you get together, C for Christian, 12 for 12 disciples, right? And there are 12 Christian CEOs, and you have a coach and a mentor. And the idea is, how do you combine your faith and your business together? Because I always kept them secular.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to offend anybody.
Dude, yes.
And I was like, this is what I need.
Yeah.
And I started diving in, like, I've been doing business all wrong.
Yeah.
Why am I not praying for my guys and praying for profit's okay?
It's okay.
So you can pay people, yourself and your vendors and your employees. And I was like, I've been doing it all wrong. So when I started realizing that, I started praying to God, like, how do I do things honor you, God?
Yeah.
How do I get into a business that makes sense? And then fast forward to a year ago, man, I'm losing my business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to exit.
Yeah.
I'm starting, basically, me and my brother-in-law does not get along. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to sell my shares. And I'm like, God, didn't you give me these skill sets to run this business?
Yeah.
Didn't you do this for me? And he said, well, you prayed that you wanted me to honor God. Well, that means I'm taking you from your business.
Oh my God.
And that's the truth.
Wow.
And so I sold, and I was like, well, I'm just going to put my faith in him. I started doing the credit building and the health insurance, and started another job with this company right here, DFI Piling. And I was like, I'm going to do it all. But it wasn't until about 3 months ago, and I read John 15:1, and I'm going to paraphrase here because I'm not really good.
Let's do it.
You want to? I'll show you what.
Yeah, let's just see what it is.
Okay, let's pull it up.
We'll go to BibleGateway.com or whatever it is.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
I now have to turn my phone on. I actually turned it on.
Oh, no, okay, I got you. What was it? John what?
John 15:1.
Yeah, I got you. Hold on. We're going to go NIV, John 15:1.
Okay. You want to read it or I'll read it?
I'll do it. The vine and the branches?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. John 15:1. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 15:2. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit.
Okay.
While every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will even be more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me.
Ooh, so a lot to unpackage here. But let me get to the point where it says, okay, I cut off the vines that don't produce fruit. What does that mean? Bad habits.
Bad habits.
Right. My habit was probably, I thought my ego was more important than God. Mm-hmm. Maybe, things like that, like the egotistical part of maybe an entrepreneur. Like it was about me and I had to work harder, and it wasn't the skill sets that God gave me. It was just those things that I believed in, and maybe not doing things that honor God. Okay. But then I believe that God gave me the skill sets to where I'm at.
Yeah.
Okay. But if he pruned the fruit off, the vines that produce fruit, like he cut my business away from me. But then so I could produce more fruit later.
But then that also goes back to what we were talking about earlier about like this got you here, but it may not get you
right.
to the next.
So you have to be pruned in order to grow even more and to be more fruitful. So I'm just believing in what he's telling me, reading the words every day. I pray every day. And I was like, and it took me 6 months, and God didn't give me that passage for the first 6 months because I wasn't ready. But he gave it to me about 3 months ago, and I'm like, I got it. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for pruning me so I can produce more fruit. Brother, it made me feel so good that I was on the right path. And it's okay to be pruned. We need to be pruned to get better.
As we record today, I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm going to point up. I wonder if there's, Clayton, I told you I was excited that you were here. And this could be the exact reason why.
Why?
Because you have to prune, and you got to get rid of bad habits.
You do.
And wow, man, and what a journey you've been on, and what an example you have led, whether you wanted to or not, right? Like, and it goes back to what I say, and I tell people this, and I don't think I've ever said it on camera, that you do these random acts of kindness, and that's what you're doing. And I believe that a random act of kindness is when it's something that doesn't make you feel good, because if it makes you feel good, that means you got something out of it, and it's almost like it was selfish, not selfless.
That's right.
But that being said, you're doing it also by just living this, and you're on this journey right now, and what an amazing, and I'm going to say it, beautiful journey you are on. You are now helping businesses grow, and allowing them to see the ways that they need to just prune, and that it's okay to be successful. God and Jesus always talks about, hey, be successful, be profitable, go and be bountiful, be fruitful, just like that talks about in that. For those out there, again, that want to reach out to you, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, multiple ways. I'm on LinkedIn, and I probably on it too much, but anyone that DM me is there, I'd love to talk to them. I put my phone number on there. I got, again, whether it's with the Reef Health benefits or whether it's Harvest, like I can put my phone number, like my personal phone number. I don't care. I don't care what part of life you're in, good or bad. I have no problem reaching out and talking to people. It's something I want to do, whether it's, I've got a little small podcast and it's called Small Business University.
Yeah.
And because I want to take the education of what I've learned, kingdom focus, and give it to entrepreneurs and leaders. And that's the purpose of my podcast.
What's the name of it again?
Small Business University. Now, I've only got 7 of them, but I'm going to get back on it. And
wait a minute. No. The average podcast only goes for 2 episodes.
Well,
so you're already above that.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
And I don't want to stop. And I like to do the one-on-ones, which I like because I feel like I can. There's another one I was going to say that I was watching this guy talk. It was a biblical one, and it's like, the trees that bear these fruits don't eat their own fruits. And that model is like, my skill set is not for me; it's for others. That tree grows fruit for someone else to eat.
Look at Michael Jordan. He set the path for everybody else. His skill set wasn't for him; it was for everybody else. There, I don't know.
Right, and so ultimately, I look at who do I serve? I serve my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I know that everything I do, from my family to myself to my business, I'm going to do that way. And I'm never going to be served wrong. I won't be. I can't be. Will there be valleys? Yeah, but still steer to God. Still look at them.
Yeah.
I've been in the valley multiple times. And I think if you're not an entrepreneur and you've never been in a valley, well, then you're the luckiest guy in the world.
Oh, my God.
But let's talk about the things that suck. Let's talk about the issues. Let's quit lying to yourself and say the truth. And it sucks. It's hard. Well, you're not alone. God wants to hear those things. Talk to him about it. Be around godly men like that. That's what I do. Yeah. And it's steered me in the right way. So the path that I thought I was going to be on forever, like before, I thought I was going to be ConocoPhillips and be a 30-year employee. Yeah. God said no. No. I thought I was going to have this business forever and retire and give it to my kids. God said no. Wow. I don't get to choose the path.
It's God's path.
It's God's path. Whew. And I believe it.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah.
Amen. I mean, Clayton,
but I'll tell you what's done for me. The stress of knowing that it's on God's shoulders, not mine. That panic attack I had, I'm not worried about it anymore. Because the stress is on the Lord, not me. Yeah. Boy, I feel a lot better as a human being. Yeah. Relieving that stress to him. Yeah. For he gets to bear that, not me. Wow. So it's tough. I still have to pray, and I still got to do all these things to make it work. But that's what I do now, and it's to me, I'm better. Yeah, I'm better.
Wow. I cannot thank you enough, Clayton. Thank you for saying what you've just said, ladies and gentlemen. I've said it before. I believe in our Lord Jesus Christ, that the God sent His Son Jesus here to die for our sins, and for all of us to believe. Didn't know that we'd get into this today. That is amazing. Clayton, I cannot thank you enough. For those out there that are looking to connect with Clayton, reach out to him, reach out to me. Get out there, hug your loved ones, commit to Christ. And to everybody that truly knows me, they know that I still got more to do as well. But thank you as always. And real to kind of sum up though, if you're looking to get capital and grow your business, if you're looking to provide more services for your employees, if you're looking to be part of a group, get with Clayton. And to everybody out there, thank you as always for tuning in to another episode of The Crude Truth. We'll see you soon.
Again, The Crude Truth would like to thank today's sponsors: LFS Chemistry, NAPE Expo, Air Compressor Solutions, Sandstone Group, Exec Crew, Texas Star Alliance, Pecos Country Operating, and Real News Communication Network.
The easiest way to start your own podcast and TV show? Real News Communications Network. Stand out from your competition. Produce streams of high-quality social media content. Become a thought leader in your industry. With RNCN, you get to be the host. We handle everything else. Tour one of our 3 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Colony. Call 972-402-6333 or visit launchashow.com to find out more.